The following is a presentation of the Matt Talk Podcast Network.
Welcome to today's press conference for the 2018 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships. We're joined today by Lehigh's Darian Cruz, Wyoming's Bryce Meredith, Penn State's Zane Retherford. Hopefully we'll be joined by Isaiah Martinez of Illinois, and Ohio State's Kyle Snyder. If you would like to ask a question, please raise your hand and we'll bring you a microphone. Our press conference is being transcribed from off-site, so please wait for the microphone and direct your questions to a specific student-athlete. First time you have the microphone, please also identify yourself and your organization, and we'll now open it up for questions. So please, hands up if you have one.
Kyle, this is for you. You guys are defending Big Ten champs, but Penn State's the defending national champ. Who do you feel is the favorite for the team title night, based on those two things?
Yeah. Well, both teams are really good. Penn State won it last year and wrestled really well. 5 champions, and all of them are returning. So obviously they have the firepower to compete at a really high level. But I would say that we are the favorite. I think just looking at the seeds, looking at our performance from last week, if everyone competes at the best of their ability, the best that they can, then I think it's our tournament to win, our tournament to lose, So, yep.
Again, a reminder, please identify yourself and your organization before asking your first question. Go with you here.
Mike Finn from Win Magazine. This is for Kyle. Kyle, a lot of people think of you as superhuman considering what you've done on the mat, but you showed you're human when you actually lost to Kuhn in the regular season. Can you talk about what that did to you as a human person? Did it put any doubt? What did you do to adjust anything after that match before the Big Tens?
Yeah, there was no doubt that I could make the adjustments. I've always been real confident in myself, and I've lost a lot worse than that growing up and in practice and different situations. So I always feel like I can make adjustments. And I just knew against Adam, I needed to be a little bit more efficient in the way that I wrestled him. Usually I don't have a game plan. I just try to move forward and be really offensive and try to score a lot of points. And then if my opponent can handle that, they can handle it. But a lot of times I win the wrestling positions and win the match. But against Kuhn, he's so big that I have to be a little bit more efficient with my hand fighting, finish my attacks better, pick and choose a little bit. So with that adjustment, I feel really good. I felt good about the second match, and I feel even better about the third match if we end up competing against each other. I think that I'll be able to score more than I did, and it won't go to overtime. I think I can end it before then.
Is he the biggest guy you've ever wrestled?
Yeah, I think Adam is the biggest guy I've ever wrestled. Yep.
Question here.
Gary Abbott with USA Wrestling. I'd like the seniors to talk about their thoughts heading into their final NCAA tournament and kind of what the journey's been like taking you to this point where, 3 more days and you're not a college wrestler anymore. I don't know who wants to go first, but why don't we start at the end?
All right.
Go ahead, Darren. We'll go on that end.
All right. If you can see me over the table. It's crazy to think about that, our college career is going to be done in 3 days. It's something that has been inevitable to think about since the beginning of the season. But it goes fast, so I guess I'm speaking of me personally. I kind of saved all the emotion for after the season, so I'm sure I'll be very emotional after these next 3 days. But as of right now, I'm pretty excited to compete, and it's crazy, seeing all these guys to the left of me. I'm pretty sure I've seen all these guys since I was little, one way or another, and just for us to be up here, kind of doing our thing is pretty cool. The journey's been exciting, and I'm sure we all thought about leaving a certain impact on the sport and on our teams, and it's crazy that we're kind of done doing that, specifically for our team. And I'm sure we're all going to step up and continue to do what we love, and that's wrestling. So, but yeah, all in all, I think it's kind of nuts thinking that you got 3 more days of competing, under your university, especially, it's usually been something you've been dreaming about since you were little. So, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy because my freshman year, I was actually sitting at home watching the NCAA tournament, watching all these guys either win national titles or get pretty close to it. So knowing that I've came this far, and now I'm sitting up here talking with Kyle Snyder, who's an Olympic gold medalist, maybe pound for pound best in the world, Zane Retherford, who's a world team member in college, Cruz, who's a defending national champ. It's pretty humbling to know that I can be up here and kind of speak with these guys at a press conference like this, because the last 2 years I've been a 14 seed and a 10 seed. So coming in number 1 is a little bit different for me. I'm excited for it, though. Obviously, it puts you in a little bit better place in the bracket if there's a good place to be at the NCAA tournament. We all know it's madness here, and that's why we love this sport, and that's why we love this tournament so much. Just looking back from the first year that I was here, I remember going back the next year being like, man, when do I get to go to the NCAA tournament again? I was just so excited for it because it really is the coolest wrestling tournament I've ever got to wrestle in. So being back here, being a senior, trying to go out on top for the first time, it's cool stuff, and I'm excited to try to leave my last impact, like Darian said, on the sport, because that's all we can do.
All right, thanks, Bryce. Zane?
Yeah, I think these guys said it really well. I'm not really focused on, when it's over, it's going to be over, and it's going to come Saturday night. It's like inevitable. It's going to be here. Our season's going to be over. But until then, I'm kind of just focused on scoring as many points as I can and just enjoying this moment, each moment as it comes. It's an opportunity, and it's what we train for all year long. So it'll be fun.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think that I've had a great time at Ohio State. I've accomplished a lot of things, not just in wrestling, but just feel like I've become a stronger man, stronger in my faith, mentally stronger. So I'm happy with all of that. I'm happy with the way that my career went, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. I love freestyle wrestling, so I'm going to be competing for a really long time, hopefully after this. And so this is just another great tournament to wrestle in and compete in front of. It's a unique tournament because you get to compete in front of so many people, and the team aspect of it is really cool. But I got a lot of wrestling left, so I'm excited for that.
Got a question down here in front.
Yeah, Dan Lobdell, Flow Wrestling, and this one's directed to Darian and Bryce. I don't care which one of you guys goes first, maybe Bryce, but I want to talk about your guys' style, right? You have unique style, right, Darian? You got custom shoes. Bryce, you got custom leg sleeve. Is that kind of important for you guys, right? The look good, feel good, wrestle good type thing, and how do you think that impacts you, mentally coming into a tournament like this?
Yeah, so all that stuff's a lot of fun, and it's all building a brand, Kyle Snyder does it by winning Olympic gold medals. I have to do it by dyeing my hair and putting a leg sleeve on. So it's all just where you can where you can find your like road to like building a brand and trying to do something a little bit different, because like we said, we're trying to leave an impact in 4 years. We're not professional athletes in these and get to go for 10 years. We will do freestyle stuff later, but right now it's only a 3-4 year window that you have to try to leave your impact. And I want people to ultimately remember me, because that's the only way you become like immortalized in a sport of wrestling. So if people can remember who Bryce Meredith was and his style or whatever it is, hopefully it's more for the man I am. But if the leg sleeve and the hair and the custom shoes and all that help it out, then that's pretty cool.
Thanks, Bryce. Darian?
Yeah, kind of off that. I think the first kind of time I really realized that I'm impactful, I guess, in that aspect was after last year, winning nationals and stuff like that. I was at a camp and some little kid commented on the shoes I was wearing in the tournament, and like they weren't that cool. they were pretty plain, and the kid even called them the uglies. They're like just Adidas shoes, like a plain flat. I think the color was gold on the bottom, and he's like, man, like your shoes weren't that cool, but everyone's wearing them now. And I'm like, all right, well, that's why this year I decided to kind of do something to my shoes and kind of got them, customed up and like you said, look good, feel good, wrestle good. So it's all part of the game, and like Bryce was saying, kind of leaving your impact and branding yourself. And I think it's cool seeing other athletes, be unique in their own way. So yeah, I agree with look good, feel good, wrestle good.
Thanks. Got another question down here in front.
Bryce, this is for you. You grew up in Wyoming. You returned to Wyoming after being at NC State. What are your earliest memories of this sport while you're growing up, and the importance of what you could do for that state for college wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, coming from Wyoming, it's, not a lot of people make it out of there. Of course, we got Rulon Gardner, who ended up winning Olympic gold medalist. But outside of that, you don't hear too much out of Wyoming. A lot of people joke about it not even being a real state and stuff like that. So coming out of Wyoming, I think it just kind of made me more tough because I had to travel a lot more. I had to, really reach out to the best kids in the country, trying to get any type of partner, any type of coaching, and all that kind of stuff. And ultimately, I think it just made me a mentally tougher man in the long run. And when I left it, I didn't realize how special that place really was. And we don't have a professional team where we only have one 4-year university in the whole state of Wyoming. So we're kind of the pinnacle of the state. And when you are doing well in your sport there, you're kind of like a superstar. And it's a lot of fun to be that and get the recognition that maybe you don't deserve, but we get it and it's fun. And ultimately it was the greatest thing I could have done was come back to it because it put me in a place of happiness, and it brought me around my family and my friends. And I wasn't worrying about other things then. I was just worrying about enjoying life and becoming a better wrestler. And without that, I was talking with one of my teammates yesterday in the car. Actually, like I have no idea where I'd be, in my career if I didn't leave. So luckily, God pushed me back home, and it's been history ever since.
Got one in the back here.
Clayton Sauerteig, Black Shoe Diaries for Darian. Darian, you come in undefeated, defending national champion, but so much of the talk and lead up seems to be about Suriano, about Spencer Lee, about Nathan Tomasello. Is that something that serves as extra motivation for you in the lead up to the tournament?
Honestly, I guess it's kind of been the buzz all year, and I'm cool with that. It's crazy seeing how good the sport of wrestling is getting, in the sense that guys are becoming better younger. They're becoming better earlier. So I think it's good for them, getting all that buzz. And me personally, I don't see it as extra motivation. It's motivation in itself. To try to chase another title or try to chase at least something new, in the sense that chase this year's title as opposed to last year. So I wouldn't consider it extra motivation. Just something else I got to do. Everyone in this tournament's got to beat the guy on the other side of the line, no matter what you're seeded. So every seed, every spot in the bracket's a tough draw. So I wouldn't consider it being extra motivation, just motivation itself.
All right, got a question in the back.
Yeah, since Mike and Clay took my previous two questions, I'm gonna have to pull this one out. Bryce, if two guys up there don't really have the head of hair that you do, but if you had any tips about perfectly manicured eyebrows and hair that you could give to Darian Cruz, what would they be going into this tournament?
Oh, jeez. I don't know how to answer that. I'm just going to say the good Lord blessed me with some nice hair and some wild eyebrows that I have to take care of a little more than I'd like to. So I guess, Darian, we got to stay on our wax grind and, stay pretty with the eyebrows and the hair. This is just natural, so.
I think I got to actually do my hair. So.
Go ahead.
Hi, Andrew Spey with Flow Wrestling. I got a question for both Zane and Kyle. You got the teams I want to ask about. I've been battling out all year. The dual meet was great. The Big Tens was great. How's the atmosphere and the mood with the teams coming in here? Both fan bases are very close to Cleveland. I think everybody's expecting a lot of fun with that. So if you could speak about how the team's preparing for what's coming next.
Zane, why don't you answer first?
Yeah, I don't think it's any different. I think our guys are relaxed and ready to compete, so I think it'll be a fun tournament. But it's no different than the way we've competed all year long. So just keeping that in the back of our minds. It's just another opportunity that we're all kind of grateful for, and the way we compete. If we compete hard, tournament will take care of itself. So just looking forward to kind of how it plays out.
Yeah, we're all feeling good at Ohio State. We have more tickets. I mean, we got more tickets sold through the NCAA to Buckeye fans and donors and family than we've ever had. I feel like this is going to be a predominantly Buckeye favored crowd, which is going to help us. And I think that these two teams, Ohio State and Penn State, this is the greatest team race there ever has been in the history of the NCAA. I truly believe that. I thought it was going to be that way before the season, and it's played out to be that way. So that's going to make it really exciting. And we all know that it's such a great opportunity at Ohio State. But similar to Zane said, I mean, all you can do is control your effort and your willingness to fight, be offensive, and then the other things take care of themselves. But we definitely know that we're facing a great team in Penn State, and we need to be at the very highest of our level to compete with them and win this title, which is definitely our plan.
Thanks, Kyle. I got one question in the back.
Pat Chiesa, WKYC. Kyle, kind of going off the last question, what are your thoughts on you and the team wrestling here in Cleveland? And do you think you guys can kind of build, like you said, so many tickets have been sold to Buckeye fans. Do you think you guys can kind of use the crowd to help you in this tournament?
Oh, yeah. We're going to use the crowd. I'm definitely going to use the crowd. I'm going to pump them up as soon as I get on the mat. So, and the other guys will too. I mean, our 25, Nate, Micah, Bo, Colin, they're all from Ohio. Luke is from PA. Tayshan's from PA. You know, we're all around this area, so I think it's going to be anytime you get to compete in front of a crowd that will uplift you while you're on the mat is always a little bit of extra inspiration to compete at a high level. And everybody on our team is already really self-motivated, and they wrestle because they love it and they want to score a lot of points and do the things they do really well while they're competing. But it's really cool when you have a big crowd around you cheering you on, and we're very thankful for that, for sure. We hope to see a lot of scarlet and gray.
Got a question down front?
Dan Lobdell, Flow Wrestling again, and Kyle, you're getting bombarded with questions here. You were a part of the only team that beat Penn State in the last 7 years, and you were also a part of the first United States team. Well, both you and Zane are both part of the United States team to win a world title. What can you kind of compare and contrast what you may have taken from those that you've shared with your teammates to try and push forward and try and win again this year?
I mean, I haven't shared much from the Team USA experience. You know, it's more everybody. I feel like everybody at Ohio State, the guys that are wrestling this weekend, are motivated by themselves. I don't really need to say much to them, and the coaches do a great job of saying the things that really need to be said before we compete. So it's been an amazing. I've had an amazing career so far, being able to compete on teams that can wrestle at such a great level, whether it be high school, collegiately, or internationally. Been blessed.
Another question down front.
This is for Zane. Zane, could you talk a little bit about how much a better wrestler you think you've become since this time last year, and also what the World Championship experience did for you as an athlete and as a person?
Yeah. I think I've gotten a lot better. I don't know. I've been working on little things on my feet, being more patient. I think that's one thing I really have been working on since last season. I think I forced some shots or, some offensive things last year that I'm just learning to be more patient with my offense. So that's been good. And adding everything on top, not being afraid to try new things when I'm out there. hit a foot sweep one of the matches this year. So just having fun with it. I think that's one thing that I really did this season. And learning from the World Championships, definitely wasn't happy with my performance out there. So a lot of things to take away from that. I guess one thing, I was pretty hard on myself for a little while after that, a few weeks, and I think I just realized, win or lose, not putting too much emphasis on the result, putting more emphasis on how much better is my wrestling actually getting is one thing that I focused on after that. Win or lose, that's kind of the end goal. It's never really, we want to win stuff, but are you having fun with it? Are you actually getting better? Are you adding more offense? And that's kind of what I focused on this season.
For Kyle. Kyle, about a month ago, you guys had a chance to train with Taha Akul at the RTC. How much does having a guy that caliber in the room with you help you against a guy like Adam?
It helped a lot. Taha's incredible. He's so strong, so big. Positioning is great. I think he's probably the best guy that I've ever wrestled against since I've been wrestling. And he had a similar build to Adam. They don't really wrestle the same at all. Taha shoots a lot, and his leg was actually, I would say his leg was probably a little lighter than Adam's, which was surprising to me. But I guess the size was probably the best part because, he weighs like 275. Adam probably weighs, 285, 290 or something. So that was good for me to be able to wrestle someone that size because the heaviest guy in the room, other than that, is probably like 235. So normally I don't compete against guys that big, but also, in the NCAA, not everyone's Adam's size, and usually I can just go out there and take people down a whole bunch of times and not have to worry about being strategic. But with Taha, it was good. It was good to feel that size getting ready for this tournament.
Another question here.
Hi, Andrew Spay with Flow Wrestling again. Question for Darian. You guys had a pretty good team season this year with Lehigh. You got the EIWA monkey off your back, and then you bring all 10 wrestlers here to Cleveland. Can you talk about the atmosphere and the mood, being a senior, going through all those seasons at the EIWAs, and now coming here with, I don't think only 2 teams have their full lineups, and you guys get to be one of those teams?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty cool, being a senior and getting stuff done as a team, more specifically. Honestly, that's where I get a lot of, my motivation, my will, and a lot of like my excitement is seeing how good the team can do, and it's crazy just because wrestling is such an individual sport. But I get fired up seeing these guys, excel and grow as wrestlers. So, for us to bring a full lineup out here, is pretty sweet. It ups our chances of, bringing home a trophy, and I'm excited for all 10 guys. Me being the only senior on the team, and there's a couple freshmen in our lineup, and I think it's awesome for them, to get out here and experience this. I remember, my freshman year, I just remember getting just caught up in the lights, and I think Madison Square Garden, that was the one where I didn't place. That one I really got caught up in the lights, and I like having these guys out here as many times as they can, to kind of experience it, and then there shouldn't be an excuse why you don't bring home an All-American, So I want these guys to get their feet wet and enjoy the moment, but I want these guys to really push themselves to wrestle to the best ability. And the 10 guys that we brought here, I've seen them wrestle great matches, up in the practice room, or even compete out, like at Scuffle or in dual meets, and I know what they're capable of. It's just it's a harder, playing field out here. At least that's what they think. Coming from me personally, I think it's the best time to have fun and go out and do what you know how to do, and that's just something that I really try to push for these guys. So for us having like the full lineup in, I think it's awesome for Lehigh. Shows a lot of hope for Lehigh, and like I said, we're young, so I'm excited to see where this team continue to go.
All right, guys, we have time for one last question. So there's another one out there. I don't see any hands, so All right, well, we'll wrap up with that, guys. Thank you to our student athletes, and our coaches will be coming up here shortly. Thank you.
The Short Time Wrestling Podcast is proudly outfitted by Compound Clothing. Shirts, singlets, custom gear orders, everything you need. Call up Cliff and the crew at cmpteamwear.com. First time listening? Well, you can change that by going to matttalkonline.com/get-short-time to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or listen on your favorite podcatcher at matttalkonline.com/listen.
This show is part of the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, head over to matttalkonline.com.